Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome back. I hope you are doing amazing. Today I'm doing a little bit more garden content. I am going to do another seed haul. I did get more seeds since the last seed haul. I also have some seed starting supplies that I'm going to talk about as well. For those that don't know, I recently moved to a much colder climate than I was living in before. So I feel like in some ways I am starting from scratch with gardening. I have to learn about some new crops, learn about some new techniques to extend my growing season. It's all good, I'm excited, but this is a learning process. I had some tried and true crops that I was growing in BC that I knew would do well in my region. I don't think they're gonna do so well here, so I am trying out some new crops this year, trying to find out what is gonna do really well in this area. For those that are interested, I'm in Alberta, Canada. We are about a zone 3. Some people say it's more like zone 4A, so it's cold. It's colder here. There is going to be a much shorter growing season, which means I'm gonna do a lot more seed starting indoors than I used to do. I honestly didn't start a lot of seeds indoors in the past because there just was no need. But to extend my growing season, I do want to do more seed starting indoors this year. I'll talk about that as I go. Anyways, let's get into the seeds. I'll go grab them. My last seed haul was mostly flowers. Actually, I think it was all flowers. I got a little bit carried away in ordering. The house that we moved to has lots of garden beds that are empty. In contrast to the old house where I filled so many garden beds with perennials, there are a lot of blank slates here, so I ordered a lot of flowers. But this seed haul is more food. More veggies. There is some flowers in here though as well. Now this one is open already because I did start some green onions indoors. These are ramrod scallions. I'm gonna try and grow them indoors on a sunny windowsill. I have heard of people doing that quite successfully. You can just trim them as they grow or pull them right up. Green onions are just such a nice thing to have on hand, but they're kind of annoying to just always be buying, especially because they get weird in the fridge sometimes, soggy, etc. So I did buy these with having in mind that I would grow them indoors until whenever I can grow them outdoors, but just a fun little thing to start. It is fun to grow things indoors. Obviously I have all my houseplants, but in the winter, starting something from seed is just so exciting. It's hopeful. That's also another reason I'm excited to do more seed starting indoors. I think it will make me look forward to spring, maybe help the winter go a little bit faster. I'm enjoying the winter, but because I love gardening so much, it is kind of a drag to have to wait so long to get gardening. But anyway, ramrod scallions or green onions. I think scallions and green onions are the same thing. Next one is flowers. Again, these are zinnias, Queenie lime with like a pink blotch in the center. I haven't grown a ton of zinnias in the past, mostly just because I had so many perennial flowers going, but I am excited to experiment with zinnias. These just look so bright and exciting. Green flowers are kind of interesting to me. They are not super popular, but this green is a lime green, basically yellow. I think it will be really eye-catching. This says it has mostly double and semi-double blooms. So that's pretty cool. Cucumbers. I love cucumber. My whole family loves cucumbers. We eat a lot of cucumbers. We do make pickles sometimes, but often when we grow cucumbers from the garden, we just eat them so quickly because they're so delicious. So who knows? These are pickling cucumbers though, so if I get to it, great. If not, they will just be really delicious cucumbers. I found that in BC where we were, it was so hot and dry that we didn't get as many cucumbers as I would have liked. I feel like I could have had a bigger harvest if the weather was slightly cooler. So I have hope for trying out cucumbers here. These ones say they are resistant to cucumber, mosaic virus, scab, downy mildew, powdery mildew, and parthenocarpic. And I don't know a lot about cucumber diseases, but that seems like a lot of diseases. I did definitely have a lot of mildew on my cucumber leaves in the past, so hopefully these will be really nice and resistant and grow well for me. Hot peppers, these are called Jimmy Nardello. These are not super spicy, I don't think. Heirloom Italian frying pepper with incredibly sweet flavor, both fresh and cooked. I have a lot of hot pepper seeds already. These look like hot peppers, but it sounds like they are more like a sweet option. I have grown so many hot peppers in the past. I will definitely grow more this year, but in the past I grew scorpion peppers and reaper peppers, and they were so hot. You know, I made hot sauce and everything, but it was so hot that you really couldn't use a lot of them up. So I found that they were not the most versatile to grow. I will for sure grow a couple plants of hot peppers, but it's nice to have an option that everyone will like, my kids will be able to eat, and I can just throw in any recipe without worrying about burning our mouths off. This one I am super excited about. This is a climbing zucchini. It is called Ola Escaladora, and it grows vertically. Now, of course, any zucchini, you could sort of train it to climb up a trellis. However, this one is cultivated specifically to be a climbing zucchini. Part of my garden is right beside a fence, so I'm hoping to plant these along there and they can grow up the fence. That'll save a ton of space. Zucchinis, I love growing zucchinis, but like any squash, they can just take over the garden. So at least if they're growing vertically, they can go crazy. They can take over the fence. I really don't care, but they won't take over the garden. They won't take over the rest of the yard. Also, I am hoping that if they are really solidly climbing, they'll be less resistant to pests because they won't be sitting on the ground. Sometimes when I grow squash, they are, you know, the fruit is sitting on the ground where it's sometimes wet, and bugs can crawl right into the fruit and make themselves at home and eat the fruit before I get to eat the fruit. So I'm really excited to try this out. This is a new cultivar, I believe. So hopefully it grows well. Zucchini is zucchini. There is so many types of zucchini, but I find they all taste the same. There's different colors, they look different, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe people will disagree with me, but I find that they all taste pretty similar. And depending how much you water them, they will have different textures, but I find they all kind of taste the same. So why not try something interesting that's going to grow vertically? Okay, tomatoes. Last year I got these beautiful tomato plants from my neighbor who saved all her seeds and grew all her tomatoes from seed. She had like blue tomatoes, striped tomatoes, yellow and red striped tomatoes, and purple tomatoes. Anyway, I bought all the plants from her. I was lovingly growing them, and then before they produced fruit, we moved. So I don't know how those plants did, and I don't have the seeds because I don't have the seeds. I wasn't able to collect the fruit. So I'm just gonna go really basic this year. These are Roma tomatoes. Hopefully they will grow well. Again, this is not a super hot climate. We will get hot days. I find tomatoes just love to be very, very hot. But hopefully, you know, I've heard that many people grow tomatoes very successfully here. So hopefully I can find a hot area of the garden and be able to grow a ton of tomatoes. I really hope so. Tomatoes are one of my favorite things to grow. I think it's a lot of gardeners' favorite things to grow. The reason being they are so satisfying as they produce fruit, but also the taste. I mean, you know, you've had both. They're not the same at all. And so in the winter we eat these like tomatoes that are kind of like just water in a red container. You know, we eat those tomatoes all winter, we pretend that they taste good, and then you have the real tomatoes from the garden and they're delicious. Roma tomatoes I feel like you can use in anything. You can make sauce, you can use them in sandwiches, you can, you know, use them in salsa. I feel like Roma tomatoes, they're not too watery, but they're watery enough that you can make sauce pretty easily. So I went for these ones. I think that these will be good. These ones also say that they are disease resistant to leaf mold, fusarium, root knot, nematodes, tobacco mosaic virus. Again, I don't know if that's an issue here, but I have had some weird bugs in the past. So anytime there's seeds that really advertise like there's extra resistance to certain pests, I tend to go towards those because why not? Why not make my job easier? Also, I hate spraying my plants with anything. I really, you know, I've used dish soap and water, I've used sulfur, but I don't really want to be using anything weirder than that. And even that is like really annoying to do. So anytime a plant says it is resistant to pests, I tend to want to try that just because it'll make my job easier and hopefully reduce the type of chemicals that I might use. Even though usually I don't even end up getting the chemicals, those plants don't do well. That's usually what happens. So it's kind of disappointing and a waste of my time and garden space. And these I am definitely going to be starting early, probably April, maybe May. Like I said, our last projected frost date is June 1st, which is quite late compared to what I'm used to. However, that's okay. It is what it is. So there's no way I'm going to plant these just into the ground. There's no way that I will get enough tomatoes if I do that. So I'm gonna start these quite early. What do they say? Sow indoors 5 to 7 weeks before transplanting out. So April. I will start these in April, and I will show you, I have like a really exciting seed starting setup. So I will be starting these indoors, and hopefully I'll probably start way more plants than I need, and then I can give them away or whatever, or just have a lot of tomato plants. More flowers, snapdragons. Snapdragons are beautiful. I was growing perennial snapdragons in our previous house. These are not perennials, these are annuals. And these ones, they also recommend starting indoors 7 to 9 weeks before last frost. So maybe March. I'll start these in March. But these are just such a beautiful color. These are called Potomac Orange. I don't know a lot about like the different cultivars. There's like collections of snapdragons. I don't know. I just thought that these look really beautiful and a really interesting color. I don't think I had ordered anything like this with the flower seed haul, so these appeal to me quite a bit. Okay, these, how cute are these? Really, I have no business growing pumpkins. I don't need to grow pumpkins. Pumpkins here are so cheap. Canned pumpkin is so cheap. And pumpkin takes up so much space, but these are so cute. I'm planning to start these indoors, probably like a month before the last frost, and then I'm gonna grow them in pots. And probably I'll grow the pots in the back during the summer, but then once fall gets here and they start fruiting, I can move them in the front, and it will be kind of like a decorative planter full of white pumpkins. That's what I imagine. Originally, I wanted to so these are called icicle, and these only get to be, how big do they get to be? Small. 450 to 900 grams, so like small, like these are baby pumpkins, probably like more like this. You can eat them, but they are, in my mind, mostly decorative. Probably I will eat them though. I mean, I'll use them as decoration and then eventually harvest them and cook them. But I originally was gonna get the Baby Boo. They're called Baby Boo, and they're also tiny. I just think that's a really cute name. But then the store was all out of the Baby Boo, so I got the icicle. I think they're basically the same thing. They're small white pumpkins. I have never grown anything like this before. Pumpkin takes up so much space that again, like I said, I have no business growing pumpkin. But I mean, really, will I regret it? It'll be in a planter. It will be adorable. I think it will be really fun. Icicle may be small, but it has a sturdy, well-attached handle, perfect for being carried around by little hands. That's so cute. Okay, and I talked about the green onions. So that is one batch of seeds. I also got this. This was a gift from Modern Sprout, but I'll just talk about it. It's like a cute little gift box of seeds. It comes with this planting tool as well as little plant markers, and they have all different types of sort of collections. It's supposed to look like a little book, right? Like a plant library. It's called the Enchanted Garden Seed Library. It's very cutesy. This one comes with Daydream Cosmos, which are white-edged petals with fuchsia centers, Dwarf Fairy Snapdragons, petite and full of tiny intricate blooms, Night Blooming Moonflower. I'm interested to use this brass seed planter thing. How it works is you poke it into the soil, and it has different depths on there. So 1 1/4 inch, like depending on how deep the seed packet says to plant the seeds. So that makes the hole, and then you can put the seeds in there and dump one in. Is it necessary? No, but it's really cute. I probably honestly will use it. I think I'll even use this with my houseplants when I am putting in a rooted cutting into a bigger plant. I usually just use a chopstick or something, but this is so cute and comfortable. And these little wooden plant markers are so cute. And then the seeds are just in little packets like this, and they have all of the info on the back. So I think that's a really cute gift for a friend or whatever. Now I need to get my seed starting thingies. These are from Vigo Garden. Vigo Garden has so much cool gardening gadgets and things that you didn't even know you needed. So I have on the bottom here, these are the jumbo. So these are more for tomatoes and squash. And then on the top are the smaller ones, so for smaller plant starts. Each unit, which of course you put several veggie starts in each unit comes with its own lid, which is cool because then depending on how you're hardening off your starts, when you want to put them outside, you don't need to put the whole tray outside, if that makes sense. And what is really cool about this lid, it has this indentation. So obviously the lid is going to be collecting, you know, humidity and condensation, but then it's going to drip off this center, right? It's all going to collect and drip down, which then drips into this, which then distributes the water into the individual seed starting cells or compartments. I think that's cool. Another cool thing that kind of attracted me to this seed starting setup versus other setups, there's so many setups to choose from, and obviously use what you have, but there is tons of openings in the actual compartment so that the roots are gonna get lots of oxygen. I find sometimes when these are completely closed, you transplant the starter and it just, the roots are not very strong because they haven't gotten enough oxygen and they kind of just fail. So I am hoping that this is a good setup. It looks good. And then of course each compartment can go onto a tray, which then of course will collect any extra water and just keep everything neat and tidy. This size is for smaller starts, so probably flowers or greens or things like that, smaller plants, smaller starts that don't need to be massive before you transplant them. And then I also got this bigger size for squash, tomatoes. I can't even really think of all the seeds that I'm gonna be starting. But like I said, I'm not, and this one just has like the 4, but it has the same cool lid. So as far as seed starting, I'm not gonna do that this month. It's February right now, if you are watching this in the future. It's February right now. I'm sure I will start some of my seeds in March. I think I'm gonna like take out all the seeds that I wanna plant and look at how much time they suggest before the last frost, and maybe just make like a journal of, okay, I need to start these in March, I need to start these in April. Again, another benefit of having individual compartments, you don't have to do a whole flat of one type of vegetable, which again, with the setup I had before, it was just these big trays and you kind of had to do all this. I mean, you didn't have to, but I did. I've also started seeds in just individual pots. I have so many nursery pots, of course, from my houseplants. So in the past, I have also just started seeds in pots or even small terracotta pots, which is great. It works totally fine, but it does take up so much space. These trays are a little bit more compact. I can even stack them if needed. Because, you know, when starting a lot of seeds, it can kind of take over your house, which is fun. But I do have a family and pets and other things going on in my house that I can't really take over too much space with my seeds without impacting someone else. And you know, they let me do what I want to do to an extent, but at some point I just can't take over the whole house. So I'm excited to use this sort of compact situation. Hopefully it goes well. My one hope really for these, and I can't really tell yet, is that they last forever. With gardening, I find there is so many gadgets and weird products that you can buy that are just more garbage. And to me, the point of gardening is getting closer to nature and respecting nature and learning about nature. And it makes me uncomfortable using weird chemicals or all kinds of garbage, basically. So I was hesitant in getting like a plastic system that obviously eventually someday will be garbage. But I'm hoping that this will last me a really long time. According to reviews, it sounds like it's pretty durable and hopefully will last me, you know, 20 years of gardening. That's my hope. These don't sit outside for very long. You start the seeds indoors and, you know, only when you're hardening them off do they go outside. So they're not gonna get that sun damage that plastic can get when it's sitting outside for long periods of time in the sun. So I'm gonna try and take really good care of these sets, and hopefully they will last me a lifetime. That is my hope. Anyway, I'm babbling again. I hope you enjoyed this little seed haul and seed starting item haul. Let me know what seeds you're excited to grow this season. I am looking forward to making a lot of garden content. I enjoy garden content. I'm passionate about it, but I also really love hearing from you guys because everyone loves talking about their garden. So let me know anything exciting happening in your garden or seed starting that you're doing. I would love to hear it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.